winter. A time of cold weather, seasonal cheer, bad drivers, slush, gross salt on the streets, and Pokémon releases. If it wasn't already apparent, I'm not a big fan of the Pokémon series of games. I always try and start a game, I start it up, I get like halfway through the game, and then I get stuck in some cave and get bored of ever continuing. Shut up. Now, I'm going to be doing all the Pokémon as sort of aligning with the release of the 3rd and 4th version of Sun and Moon. We always talk about other companies like EA who are money grubbing with loot boxes, but how about Pokémon? They release the same game 3-4 times and no one says anything. Wait, what was my point? So today, and I know my eyes are speaking for my stomach, we're going to do all the Pokémon in Smash and talk about all their moves and where they came from. In terms of cosmetic stuff, I think I'm gonna stop doing that in Know Your Moves because it kind of wears down on me. Look at these past videos and how many layers I have to do just to tell you about a color. I don't know. I'm sorry. So in this video, we are gonna be touching on Pikachu, Jigglypuff, again, just to be consistent, Mewtwo, Lucario, and Greninja. Oh, but why not Char? I mean, I love the guy, but I already did him earlier this year alongside the Pokemon Trainer because that was a Brawl exclusive character with a very unique design that was only for the Pokemon Trainer, so I had to cover a video on it. But if you're interested, go watch that video. It has a cool JoJo intro. Well, let's start with the question you may be asking yourself if you're a Pokemon fan. Why do I think that Pokemon are less inspired than other characters in the Smash Bros. Games? Well, you gotta think about it. Pokemon are usually a combination of 2 or 3 unique features or mechanics that go into the character. Because Pokemon isn't about single characters with many abilities. The whole appeal of Pokemon, and not to joke around, is about catching them all. And while this may be fun for people, choosing one specific Pokemon to be represented in Smash and actually portraying them gets to be hard because they're very basic in their design. Pikachu, the electric rodent. Greninja, a frog ninja. Lucario, a jackal with martial arts and ki and all that. Mewtwo, he's pretty unique and he's got more going for him than most of the other Pokemon. And I'm just a clone of Kirby, but we don't call it that anymore because I'm unique or something. Jigglypuff. I realize breaking them down in this way to fans may be like I'm belittling them, but if I were to look at their moves and where they came from, it's a Google search away. Download it. I mean, there is Pokemon Stadium and Battle Revolution, and some of the newer Pokemon games have this little thing we like to call animation. I don't even have to play the games to do these videos. So, yeah, that means I'm gonna take some creative liberties with my save data. And now that you know I'm a scumbag, let's talk about the scumbag of the Pokemon series. The character that rakes in all the money, the mascot of the series, Pikachu. Who? Pikachu is one of the 4 main Smash characters if we look at his Brawl intro, and for good reason. Pikachu is fucked. He's everywhere. In terms of moves, we only really need to look at what was feasible with Pikachu's plump body. Just like when we talked about Squirtle, Pikachu's primary attacks consist of him using his head, his tail, and his body to hit your enemy. And that sums up the bulk of his moveset. I could just pat my hands and go to the next character. But I guess there are other references. For all the Pokemon characters, coming out of a Pokeball is the sad reality that they gotta live with. And this stage entrance is pretty similar to Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Battle Revolution. His jab attack could be headbutt, as he doesn't really have long limbs and him punching doesn't really make sense for his character. And many of his tail attacks could be a reference to slam, as the description states it's an attack with an appendage. Back throw also acts similar to submission. We've seen it in the anime a couple times, and its description also matches how it appears. And all we really need to look at are specials and why Pikachu brings the thunder. Obvious ones we could deduce are Thundershock and Thunderbolt being portrayed through attacks like forward smash, down smash, and his aerials. Now they don't necessarily shock opponents, but they have multi-hitting properties to make it appear as that. Smash 64, they actually had this skeleton animation when they got hit with electricity, so there it actually works. Thunder Jolt is, well, there's actually no move in the game that's actually a Thunder Jolt. Now from what I looked into, this could be a reference to the Pokemon trading card game and Pikachu's first generation card. Hey, look at him! He looks like a toe! I didn't know we were playing Tokemon! Or another answer, it's simply a translation error. In Japanese, the move is called Electric Shock, which is translated to Thunder Shock. And this is a move Pikachu has from the get-go. Anyways, there's also Quick Attack. And as it's described, it's a quick and weak attack being utilized in Pikachu's recovery. Quick Attack is as its name suggests. It lets you attack first with weaker damage. Skull Bash in the Pokemon games take 1 turn to charge and another to execute. And in Smash, we see that translated through having to charge the move in order to do it. We also see a reference to this in Pikachu's dash attack where he's cracking skulls all the time. And then there's Thunder, and it's pretty similar to Pokemon Stadium actually. Basically, it's just a strong Thunder attack that does as Thunder does. You can't really get more creative than that. Finally, there's Pikachu's final smash, Volt Tackle. In the games, it has 100% accuracy and does 1/3 recoil damage to the user. So yeah, it's definitely not the same in Smash Bros. When I looked into it, I was actually surprised to find it might be a reference to another Game Freak game, Pulse Man. I mean, in the game he does a move like it, but you know, tomato tomato, it's just an energy ball. And finally, I just want to show this for like clarity's sake. Look at him. Pikachu has glowed the fuck up. And I can honestly say Smash 4's version is the cutest version of Pikachu we've ever seen in Smash. I said I'll get to you in another video. Well, now that I'm not solely seeing yellow, let's talk about a Pokemon character that I'm actually fond of, one that's from my past of competitive Melee, Jigglypuff. Look, we already did Jigglypuff 2 years ago, and while I want to redo those beginning Know Your Moves, I don't really have much to add to Puff. Jigglypuff is the balloon Pokemon. Oh no, now she's a fairy or something. As such, Smash Bros. Utilizes this to make her an extremely floaty character focused on spacing and aerial combat. As such, we see her deflate, inflate, and... Yep, that's a balloon. Sakurai has said that Jigglypuff began as a joke character and a Kirby clone, just to flesh out Smash 64. But when he brought her back for Melee, he actually tried to make her a more... serious character. Obviously a little too serious. Jigglypuff has cemented her way into the Smash family, and like without her, I don't know, it wouldn't feel like Smash. And though this is true, many of Jigglypuff's moves are really uninspired. It's really just a collection of Kirby's moves and some stuff from the Pokemon games. There's Rollout, a move Puff has utilized since Melee that's a move learned at level 19 in the second gen forward. The move acts as it's described in the game. Simply put, in the games, it's a multi-hitting attack over multiple turns. In Smash, this is communicated through charging it and letting go. And the multi-hitting property is communicated through if you miss, you can turn directions and go back at your opponent. But usually I just die. Sing is Jigglypuff's bread and butter, and it's basically her thing as a Pokemon. In Smash, it acts as it's used in the games, where it puts opponents to sleep, but obviously in Smash, that's really underpowered. Pound is a very general attack move Pokemon have, so I mean. But in Smash, it has a shield breaking property where it weakens shields a lot. And I mean, if we really wanted to call out everything, her jab could be double slap because it is a 2-hit jab and kinda looks like a slap. And rest. Oh, where do I begin? In Pokemon, it just recovers health. You know, as you rest, you gain more health. How do you make this move function exactly the opposite way as it does in Pokemon? I don't understand how you can instantly fall asleep, and at that very instant, explosive damage is done to anyone who touches you! Hey, remember Final Smashes? Cause these guys didn't. And because Jigglypuff was added so late into Brawl, that's a fact. They probably just wanted to make her do something with minimal resources. So hey, she's a balloon Pokemon, let's just inflate her! If there's any reason why I have separation anxiety, it's Mewtwo. It's kind of weird. He was a very popular character around the time Melee released. You know, he got his own movie, he was Pokemon 151, and he was, you know, he's a cool character. Everyone liked him. But then, gone. Like the wind. Brawl came out, and the new kid on the block, Miss Rihanna, I'm under my umbrella, cool new person comes, Lucario. And no one knew why they didn't include Mewtwo. He's very important, people like him still, it just didn't make sense. Finally back to a place of sanity. Mewtwo being in Smash. I'm just so glad he got back in Smash 4. I know I don't love Pokemon, but Mewtwo is just one of the coolest ones they included. Even not knowing Pokemon, Mewtwo was a cool character from the fucking movie. He's got that glant and serious pose, his ledge cheater. I think it's the reason I got into anime. I swear to God, you son of a bitch. Mewtwo's the psychic type of all psychic types. Being created for the sole purpose to fight, he wasn't given a heart, and that's sad. Mewtwo's movement is focused on psychokinetic powers and dark energy, and these elements make up the bulk of his moveset. And since his tail's a big part of his model, they
like using his tail a lot.
Though I think in the games this dark energy thing isn't really there. They might have just utilized Shadow Ball for some reason, and now it's all over his moveset. He even learned Shadow Ball as a TM, he doesn't actually have the ability. So I'm kinda edging on saying that Mewtwo Strikes Back is where the majority of his Smash moveset was inspired from. Except he doesn't even learn Shadow Ball through like evolution, it's a TM. The thing is, he does have Aura Sphere in all of the games he's in, but we'll talk about Son Goku later. Confusion is a level 1 attack that Mewtwo has. And then he throws you up in the air because he just don't care about what Confusion actually does. This also can interrupt projectiles or items thrown at Mewtwo. Disable is also a level 1 attack Mewtwo has. Essentially disables your opponent by putting them in their shield break animation. In Pokemon, it takes away a move the opponent last did, but in Smash, it takes away anything they can do. Teleport is, well, that's it. In the games, Mewtwo can learn this in Gen 1, and I think only Gen 1. And what it does is basically teleport you out of a battle or away from an opponent that isn't like a trainer battle. And I mean, his forward air could be Psycho Cut. That is a cut. This guy's psycho. Look, I'm no expert, but I know basic deduction. I'll put a circle in a circle hole. And now he has a final smash, Side Strike! And I mean, I get it. X and Y just came out, so you turn into your Frieza form. I mean, dude, you just got here. Take your shoes off. Stay a while. And I'm very happy to talk about this next character. It was a character many people wanted in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, almost like a dream. No one could believe it. Son Goku added to the roster. Ah, Lucario. Quite the weird choice for many of us non-Pokemon fans. I think in Brawl he was chosen to be a Pokemon from Gen 4, as this game released closest to Brawl's development. He also starred in a feature-length Pokemon movie in 2005, which probably played into choosing him. This combined with Mewtwo having a movie is where people started assuming that Pokemon in Smash were chosen based on movies and they were essentially Flavor of the Month Pokemon characters. And I mean, at first it does look like that, but when you base it off of only 2 games, it's not a lot of subjects to base a conclusion off of. He did come back in Smash 4's DLC, so I mean, everyone wins. And they're both in Pokken too! Right? That's a game. Remember that? Anyways, Lucario's archetype is very different amongst Pokemon. He has a more human martial arts fighting style, where he has tons of kicks, flowing motion, and he talks through telepathy.
The aura's so good.
Then of course he has the aura. This allows him to sense good and bad people. Don't know how subjective that is. And this aura helps him fight, which leads to the mechanic of Smash Bros. Basically, as Lucario fights longer and takes more and more damage, his attacks do more damage, and he becomes stronger. Which is an interesting mechanic when you're trying to learn what kills what, and bam, he just knocks you off with a little dinky kick. And then there's Rage and Smash 4, and you have Aura, and then he's flying around like Zaboomafoo! And get this, the whole Aura mechanic was never, ever mentioned in Pokemon or the movies. The only thing he has in the game is Aura Sphere, and it says he's the Aura Pokemon, it lets him communicate with shit, and it's like, okay, but where did this come from?
Max Aura! This is Super Saiyan 3.
Okay, there's no way it's a coincidence. It's either the Pokemon Company or Sakurai doing this shit because everything about him in Smash just relates to it. He has aura to sense the energy of his opponents. His ki, he gets stronger when he takes more damage. When he gets closer to death, he can kill you. He has kicks in his fighting style. He has a Kamehameha. He even has the baggy pants thing. You know what I'm talking about? Aura Sphere is learned through leveling up, shown in the movie being like, whoa, look at this shit, wow, a ball. Kinda crazy that it based all of Lucario's moveset. Force Palm also can be learned through evolving. They just happen to add these aura effects in Smash to kind of, centralize this mechanic around him. In Smash 4, it almost becomes a projectile when you have high levels of aura, but it still acts as a Force Palm up close. We can even see this in his grabs. Extreme Speed is something Lucario learns through leveling up as well, and it's essentially a stronger quick attack, also being Lucario's recovery. And when I was reading this, apparently Lucario is one of the only non-legendaries that can do this. But this move is a million times funnier when you have aura. His down special double team is essentially a counter. It makes an afterimage of Lucario, and if you attack it, then the other one attacks you. Then finally, Lucario is actually one of the few characters that has 2 final smashes. In Smash 4, he now has Mega Lucario with the release of Pokemon X and Y. And then there's Aura Storm, where he's Son Goku! And finally, Greninja, the newest Pokemon newcomer, and honestly, no quips, I really like this character from everything about it. I picked Froakie in Pokemon X and Y, I didn't finish the game, I really like the character. They know how to sell me on characters, and Greninja, amazing choice. Greninja actually has an interesting story to his inclusion in Smash. Pokemon X and Y had a release before Smash 4, about a year. So the development of this and Smash 4 co-aligned. So Mr. Sakurai was all like, shit, I need a new Pokemon. So we got a few sketches from Game Freak, no gameplay of the actual character yet, but they recommended one of these final evolutions of the starters, and Sakurai was all, alright, let me crack this one out in a night. You know what, he fits into Smash Brothers really well. He has quick attacks, he runs around, he gets in, gets out, and hops in the air, and he goes a hip, hop, a hippie to the hip, hop, hoppa, you don't stop. The frog said a bang, bang, boogie, sit up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat. I'm stealing all my old jokes. However good his design is, it actually came without much inspiration from actual things in the Pokemon games. Since the game wasn't out and the anime didn't exist yet, where were they gonna pull moves from? It's actually more likely that things that were used in Smash Bros. Were taken to be used in the anime and potentially the game. Like Greninja's water swords and his smash attacks? Like, we see Ash's Greninja do that in the anime. Like, this guy was born for the spotlight. They knew as soon as they made him he was gonna be in everything. That's confidence. And that's a tongue. I can't. So his specials are really the only place we need to look for stuff that was actually in the Pokemon games. Water Shuriken is a very unique Pokemon move that's a multi-hitting attack that was translated to Smash as a neutral special. And Greninja's the only Pokemon that can learn this move. Like, wow, you were the spoiled child, you had everything made for you. Chestnut? This guy's going to physio for his back. Shadow Sneak, similar to its Pokemon description, is a move where Greninja turns into a shadow in an attempt to sneak attack an opponent. In Pokemon, it increases your character's priority in the turns of battle. Funnily enough, Hydro Pump is his recovery. Last time we saw this in Smash, Squirtle used it in his final Smash, as his strongest move. Kinda like Goku when he's in a sticky situation and he has to use a Kamehameha. Why are all of them based on Goku? Substitute is, as you'd expect, just another counter. But this one is more fun as it gives you this little guy! In Pokemon, it essentially acts the same, where the substitute takes the damage the Pokemon would take until its HP runs out. Except in Smash, they add an attack after the substitute to portray how you'd use this move in the Pokemon games. And now we got, the super secret technique. I don't know if I can tell you this one. Anyways, this relates to two moves Greninja has in Pokemon, Mat Block and Night Slash. And I can't believe it, but I did all the Pokemon in like 15 minutes. You gotta commend me for that, cat. Okay. Wow. In summary, yes, I'm trying to complete this series by doing 5 characters in one video. But doing separate videos on them would just be me forcing out a lot of dialogue that isn't necessary. These Pokemon really are as simple as they appear. There also aren't too many Pokemon that could really stand out in Smash. They could have 2 or 3 moves that are unique to them, but then the rest would feel very recycled, like we've seen it before. It's a hard line to walk, but I think they did it successfully. I know I have my opinions on the Pokemon series, but the thing that draws me back to it all the time, and the reason I actually want to get into the series, are the characters, because they're so lovable, they're so cute, you train them, they evolve, it's really, really cool. But that also creates a problem for selecting them for Smash Brothers, and choosing the ones that they did a good job. It must be really hard choosing out of all 600 of these characters with hundreds of moves that all of them could have, and it's like, where do you even start? Which ones are more important? Which ones should get this spot? And honestly, I think they chose great ones and brought them to life in Smash. I know Pikachu and Jigglypuff, they're older and they're more because they're veterans, but Mewtwo, I know him and he's cool. Lucario, they brought a unique idea to life, and Greninja, awesome choice. Like, I love Greninja. I don't love Pokemon, but I love Greninja. Like, I want to play that game just for the character. And I happily say that is it for the Pokemon Know Your Moves. It was something, but we got through it. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you for getting me to 200k and continually watching Know Your Moves. Smash this in the series has been going for a while, and it really humbles me to know that you are all watching and you all care to know which ones are coming next. Thank you to my $10, $5, and $1 patrons. Any little bit you guys give helps, and we've having a blast on the server. I'm really happy to have met a lot of you and talking with you. It really just brings it down to a human level. And well, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. So, moving on forward, 300k is the next hurdle. So I will see you there at then, and I will see you on the flip side. Later, baby, I'm out here.